we are preparing to stream. All right, we are now live on YouTube. So hey everybody, welcome back to the Continuing Committee's YouTube channel. I am Maggie Geppert, Jadzia Dax 8 on the boards. I'm the executive officer, and I have here today Stephen Hensel, who is very graciously willing to be my teaching subject for this video, which is how do you play Lackey with second edition. So thank you for coming on, Stephen. He's Bionic Man 05 on the boards and the dojo, by the way. So thanks for joining me today, and thanks for asking for the game.
Always happy to help out, and always can stand to use the practice.
Yep. So Stephen, so this video just for everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. The objective of this video is to teach people who already have a passing familiarity with the game of second edition and have already downloaded Lackey onto their computer. So I'm sorry, those of you who may be watching this video hoping to get some hints on how to install Lackey on your computer. That's not the focus of this particular video. And while you'll probably get some tips for how to play second edition here, this is more of a demo video for how do you use Lackey. All right, so let's take a look here. I want to start off. So I am in Lackey right now, and I'm actually in the wrong plugin, but that's okay because I want to show everybody how you get to the right plugin. So I'm sitting in a game right now. And so I'm in the main, like this is the table area. So if you look up here to the upper left, you'll notice some things here. You know, this drop-down menu is saving and starting a new game, and so I'll be doing a bit of that lately. But I'm going to first, I'm going to go over to the plugin tab, and I'm going to choose the drop-down menu. I have the second edition plugin set, and this has recently been updated. So I will give a shout out here to Marcus Eberline, who maintains our Lackey plugins for first edition, second edition, and triples. Thank you for all your work, Marcus. So now I'm in the second edition plugin, and I am going to first off click on the tab for server, and I'm going to connect to the game matching server. So I'm going to host a game. So one of the things I learned about hosting a game is you can change the number recently, that you can change the number of initial seats to up to 10 people. So if you wanted to play a multiplayer game of second edition, you would certainly be able to do that here. But it's just the two of us, so I'm going to just pick 2, and I'll say host a game. And so now Steven's going to come. He's logged in as well, and he's going to select my game, and then he's going to hit the button that says join selected game. And I see up here at the tab that the game tab that he has joined. So now I'm going to go over to the deck editor, and you can download your own decks from the Continuing Committee's deck builder into Lackey, or you could build your own decks in Lackey if you want to. I always build in the deck builder on the CC's website because of the statistics that you get. You know, it'll tell you how many skills you need for your missions and how many personnel of each skill you have, that sort of thing. So it's very, very useful for me to build my deck in the deck builder. But there are also preloaded decks here. So I'm going to browse here. And one of the preloaded decks that are available here are Lucas Thompson's demo decks for new players. So I'm going to pick one of those demo decks. I don't think I've played the Deep Space Nine one before. So I'm going to choose the Deep Space Nine beginner deck. So I'm going to pick that. They were all uploaded, by the way, March 22nd of 2020, I believe, is when they were. I'm not entirely certain when they were done. So I'm going to choose that one. So I'll say choose. the assigned beginner deck. I will choose that.
I'll grab one of the other beginner decks.
So that, all right, that's
Oh.
odd. I'm not going to choose that one because it seems to be missing cards and I don't know what cards it's missing. So each of these beginner decks should have, I thought 30, 25 or 30 dilemmas, should have 5 missions and 35 cards. So I don't know what's going on with this one. So I'll go ahead and choose something else. All right, I will pick the TOS beginner deck. Sure, choose that one. There we are. 35 cards in the deck, 30 dilemmas, 5 missions. That's the correct number for the beginning decks. Now I'm going to, if you look underneath, so here's the list of all the cards that are in the deck, and there are tabs for dilemmas, there's tabs for missions, and then you can customize decks in Lackey. You can put cards in or you can take cards out. But I'm just going to use this button in the middle here that says load entire deck to you. So I'm click that. Oh, I see what happened. There are some cards missing, probably that got errata. So for instance, I see that Protect the Escapees is missing, and that is that card recently got errata to be called Crimson Gap, Protect the Escapees. So there's something weird, you're missing cards. So Stephen, although you're good. You've got 5, 30, 35, and I've got the same. So I think we're all right here with our cards. So I'm gonna attempt to, all right, so my deck is not shuffled, or I can't right click and shuffle on it because that's new here. All right, so I'm gonna start by rolling. So down at the very bottom, you'll see a command bar, and you can do \roll. I have heard that German keyboards do not have backslashes on them. So Stephen's got a 6. Go you. I got a 1. So normally when I play my colleagues in our colleagues in Germany or Austria, I tend to offer to flip a coin because you can do \flip as well, and then let them call heads or tails. All right, so I'm going to put out my missions. So let's see. Okay, so I have arranged my missions. So one of the things that you can do with this when you have multiple cards in a tab that you want to move out onto the table is you can left click on the side of the table away from the cards, and then you can drag across, and then you can select all of them at the same time, and you can move them out all at the same time. So I've put out my missions. I also have my table set up. So one of the things you can do, you can edit your preferences. And one of the things you can do is your appearance here. So card appearance preferences, you can say opponent's cards on the table always face you, or they're upside down. So I can choose to have them facing me or upside down. It doesn't really matter which one. But when you hover over them they'll be right side up in the left-hand side. Okay, so I will go ahead, now that we have both put our missions out, I'm going to use this button down here in the lower right that says draw 7. So I will draw 7 cards to my table. And Stephen, you may go since you have the first turn. Oh, and I will also, this is another important thing. Since it's Steven's turn, I will click on this little blue button with the white arrow in it to advance the turn. So every time you do this, it'll trip the auto save. And that's a really, really important thing to do with when you're playing a game in Lackey, is to save on a regular basis, because you will have days where the Lackey server is very unstable and you'll get kicked out a lot. Or if your internet connection is even the tiniest bit unstable, then you can get kicked off of the server pretty easily. So highly recommend saving your game at regular intervals. I usually try to remember to do it when anyone scores points, because that way at least you'll be able to go back and if you get kicked off the server, you'll be able to pull the game back up to whatever its usual game state is. All right, so go ahead, Stephen. Go ahead and play your 7 counters out.
All right. So. First thing we'll do is, so for something's booping in the background. That might be me.
I do not hear a boop.
Okay, I've been hearing many of them, so that might be something on my end. Okay, so for 1, put him out. For 2. Whoops. I apologize. I clicked on the wrong person. I was reducing your counters instead of mine.
Oh yes, so that's another feature. That's a feature of Lackey that, I'll be honest, I don't use very often. So so I will pull everybody's attention, anyone who's watching this, over to the left. You'll see my name and Stephen's name, and you'll see a points area, so you can add points in this by clicking on that. You also have a counters thing. So so at the beginning of your turn, everybody gets a default of 7 counters. And so as you use them, you can go down and say, -1, -2, however many points. I tend to just, myself personally, because I'm used to playing face-to-face games, that I'll just call out, oh, I play him for 2, I play him for 4, draw a card for 5, blah, blah, blah. But that's certainly, a neat little feature that anybody who wants to can use. Also on this turn, you have these buttons: play, draw, execute orders, or discard. So you can move through those phases of your turn. So right now he's still in the play and draw phase. So he's played 3.
Yep, I've played 3 so far. I'm going to play 3 more to get these 2 out. And then I have 1 left, and since I can't play anything for cost 1, I will draw that last card. All right. There are no orders that I can execute at this point. I don't have more than 7 cards in my hand, so I will turn the game over to you.
So I will play George Stalker for 2. And then I will use the text of Earth, Lush and Beautiful Home. When you play a TOS card here, you may spend a counter to draw 2 cards. So then I will Earth counter for 3. I will play number 1 for 4, 5. And I will play Evans for 6, 7, and I will not use his upgrade. So then I'm going to take all these personnel, So in second edition, you are not obliged to keep you are obliged to, you do turn your cards over once everybody has gotten a chance to examine them. So I'm going to go ahead and select I'm going to left click on the table and select those 3 personnel that I played this turn, and I'm going to drag them into crew 1. I could have also done it this way where if I select all 3 of them, I could right click on them and I could say send to the top of crew 1, and I put them on my crew 1. So that's another way you could do it.
Well, that's handy.
Yeah, the program itself is very flexible. I think the biggest learning curve on playing with Lackey really is just, in my mind, it's getting the darn program installed the first time, and figuring out how to do that. I think is harder than actually playing a game in it. All right, so I have no, as I'm playing TOS by default, I have no orders per se, because all of their stuff is when you play. So then I'm gonna flip it over to you. It's your turn.
All right. So get myself those 7 counters back. First thing I will do is deploy the Rotaran for 5. Then I will put out Tevis for 2. Tevis will then, I will move into the execute orders phase and hit the button this time. Now I will move him into the crew 1 phase, which I will now be saying the Rotaran has crew 1 aboard it. They'll be beaming up.
So for those watching, Stephen is using what's known as the black +1 command. So if you click on a card, like all of my personnel are just sitting on Earth right now. So I will right click on Earth and I will select this black +1. And this says that all of my personnel who are in crew 1 are here on my headquarters mission. So that's a handy way to keep track if you've got a lot of different crews, especially if you've got like 2 ships or you're sending people down the planets. It's very helpful.
All right. So then what I'm going to do is move from Kronos over to Cardassia 4, which will be a total range of 3, actually, it looks like, out of the 7 that I have. And then I will attempt that mission by beaming crew 1 down.
So he is beaming 5 personnel down from crew 1. So, and I know that because one of the things that I could do is over here in this middle line of tabs, you'll see there's a drop-down menu that's got our 2 names on it, or there's arrows back and forth. So if I click the arrow once, I can go through and I can see his crew 1 right here. So I can't see anybody, they're all face down, but I can see that he has 5 personnel there. All right, so now I'm going to come back here. So he's attempted with 5. So I'm going to click on the tab that says Hand Dilemmas. And I'm going to draw 5 dilemmas because that is how you roll in 2nd edition. That when it is number of personnel attempting minus the number of cards under your mission gives you the number of counters you can draw and spend for dilemmas. So let's see here. All right, so I have chosen my dilemma. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the dilemmas I'm not using, and I am going to drag them over to the bottom dilemmas tab. So this represents in a game of second edition, taking all of my unused dilemmas and placing them face up underneath my dilemma pile. So I have chosen one dilemma. Oops, I dragged two of them to my crew instead of bottom dilemmas. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my dilemma. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to drag it to the table. And then I'll flip it over here and say Rogueborg ambush.
Okay.
So I feel it unlikely that 5 Klingons are going to have cunning greater than 35. Especially because you have Camus and his cunning's like 4. I'm not that good of a skill tracker, those of you watching at home, but I remember Camus because he's in every Klingon deck. And I do not recall you playing a hand weapon.
No, and I don't have intelligence. Yeah, nope. Cannot do either one of those.
All right, so I'm going to now, since, so I get to kill somebody randomly. So I'm going to go back over to looking at Steven's setup, and I'm going to say his crew 1. Now, he showed me in our first edition game earlier this cool thing that, so normally my instincts are I just pull somebody out onto the table. So normally I would just say this guy here and pull him out on the table and reveal. But if you want to use some of the features here, you can also use this move. So I right click on crew 1. I go to move random 1. Can't move it out onto the table, so I will move to the top of the discard pile.
And there's also the discard X at random option as well.
Oh, yes.
That's there.
But I think that it just moved your guy to my discard pile. So this may not be the best option. Yeah,
Probably
it
not.
moved Ortaken to my discard pile and not yours. So
that is unfortunate.
Yeah, so yeah, discard. Oh, well, here, let's, all right, so we already know that he's discard 1 at random. No, that did the same thing. It put him into my discard pile. So that may not be, that would be something that he would have to use on his own crews then. Interesting. So there's some interesting limitations to that. Okay, so now because so this was the only dilemma and everybody is stopped by Rogueborg ambush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to tap the Rogueborg ambush to show that it's overcome. I will click on the mission. I will right click on the mission. I will click overcome +1, and then I'll just put that under. So the overcome button is nice because then you're not trying to count how many dilemmas you have underneath. That you'll have it right there. All right, so those are your 4. I hope I didn't de-staff you. Most Klingons seem to have staffing icons, so I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, no, I am actually, amusingly, you have left me unstaffed.
Ooh.
I'm not going to specifically tell you what's going on with that, but yes, you have left the Rotarans stranded in orbit above Cardassia 4. So this is going to be great.
Ouch.
Hey, it was a calculated risk, and it turned out I was bad at math.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, and of course, like strategically, I'm sitting here thinking, well, I know I didn't kill Camus, so you still have all the skills for the mission, but with 4 people, you don't have the strength. So even if you told me, I'm going to attempt this mission again, I would be like, haha, I'm not giving you any dilemmas.
Yep. So, all right. And since I don't have to discard anything out of my hand, I will make it your turn.
All right, I'm sorry that Borax ended up in my crew 1 somehow. All right. So let's see. I'm going to draw for 1.
Ah, dang it.
Play Niles Barris for 3. I now have 4 TOS personnel, so I can play the Constitution for 6, and that's a TOS card, so I can Earth counter. Draw 2 for 7. All right, so I'm not ready to go anywhere or do anything yet, so it is your turn.
All right. And I will say that my last turn back of the envelope math was incorrect. I am not uncrewed because I forgot about the person you had on the table.
Ah, good, yeah.
However, and I will give away this piece of information, you have left me with 29 strength.
Ah.
And I need 30 to complete the mission. So
31.
Still, well played. All right, let's see how this is gonna go. All right, I have why not? Let's do this. I'm gonna spend all 7 to get Gorkon and Nudak out at Kronos.
Okay, new doc, you can discard a card from hand to take a card from your discard pile into hand. So if you really want Ortaken back.
Which would be great if I had any cards left in my hand.
Oh.
So unfortunately I do not. So we will then move into the order. So we know what I'm going to be doing next turn, drawing quite a few cards probably. And so the first thing I'm going to do in the orders phase is realizing I can't do anything there. We're going to beam crew 1 back up to the Rotaran. We're going to fly back to Kronos, pick these 2 up to crew 1. And let's see here real quick if I can do something else or if I want to throw myself at that idea again. You know what? Let's do that again. So because the distance there is 3 and I have a range of 7, I believe I can now fly back because that transport does not stop anybody.
Right.
And we'll beam 6 Klingons down to Cardassia 4.
All right, and attempting with 6, there's 1 underneath, so I may draw and spend 5, so I can draw 5 cards and spend 5 counters worth of dilemmas. I always have to remind myself when I'm doing this to hit the draw dilemma button and not the draw button, because I always end up at least one game clicking the draw button instead of the draw dilemma button when I'm doing this. So 3, 4, 5. All right, so 5. The Lackey shuffle is real. Yeah, two of the same space dilemma run one after another. Yes, I know that's what random means, folks. I'm just joking a little bit. All right, so let us see here. Should do that. Okay, so I have chosen 2 dilemmas. I always double check the cost. You've got the one neat thing you can do with the hand dilemmas is I believe that if you select a card and you press the bottom dilemma, it takes that card and moves it over to the bottom dilemma pile. So that's pretty neat. All right, so that's what I got. So I will flip this over. First one is Dark Page. Choose a personnel who has anthropology or exobiology to be stopped. So that is your choice. All of these beginner demo decks. Ooh, Kortar, I like him. He's relatively new and he's super fun to play and pull people back from Graith, from Stovall, or is it Graithor? The hell, Klingon Hell. All right, so he's stopped. And just for etiquette purposes, he needed to show me, or at least say who, because this personnel has anthropology. If it was a random selection, he wouldn't have to show me anyone. So go ahead and move him to crew 2. And then I will tap this dilemma and I will overcome +1. Start making a stack here. Then I will flip again. And then next we have Backroom Dealings. Choose a personnel who has treachery or integrity less than 4 to be stopped. All right, so New Doc does indeed have treachery. And then there's 3 underneath. So can you still do this mission with 4? Can you do this mission with 4 Klingons?
I left myself on mute there, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because I've been saying quite a few things, and apparently none of that came through. So I am left with, I have leadership, security, transporters, and strength of 29. So nope, once more, I do not complete the mission. So, yep, that will be your turn.
Okay. Then I'm going to play I'm going to play Cisco to the ship for 2. He's got to go to the TOS ship. I will play Giotto, and I will upgrade him, cost +2, to prevent and overcome the first dilemma he faces this turn that has a cost of 1 or more and does not require a skill. So that's 6. And then Chekhov for 7. And we will go ahead and pull those guys into crew 1. And I'm going to fly these 7 personnel. We can staff the ship. Yeah, we've got plenty of gold stars. We can staff the ship. And let's see, do I want to go there? All right, actually, I don't want to go to Starbase 718. I want to go to Advanced Battle Simulation. So I'm going to attempt a space mission with 7 personnel.
All right, so I will draw 7 dilemmas.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a space mission, so we'll get rid of these. That. planet only one. Now, with 7 to spend. All right. So, oh, that's a tough choice. We will start with that one. Or, well, we'll start with this one and then go to that one. That is total spent of 7.
Yeah, and when you play dilemmas, this is just for everybody watching this. You don't have to spend all 7 counters. So go ahead and flip over first one. All right, so I've got a hard time. All right, so I will reveal to others, none in shuffle to make sure everybody's there. I will pull the hard time into my core, and then you can randomly select someone. So the neat thing about the random selection here is that if you, so when you come over to my crew 1 and you pick somebody randomly, you can hit control, and then you could select the personnel and then draw them out onto the hard time face down.
All right.
And you'll know it's right because the card will, while you're doing it, the card will say flipping. So we've got a face down personnel on hard time. Okay, go ahead and choose. So flip over your next. All right, intimidation. I have 6 humans here. And so they're all stopped.
All right.
So I will overcome that. And you've got it tapped. All right, so nothing else I can do. So it is your turn, sir.
All right. Since I have nothing in my hand, I'm going to spend my first counter to draw a card. I will draw another card. And, oh, let's draw a third card. And I like what I'm seeing here. So I will use my last 4 to put Azet Boar down.
Okay.
And then put her into crew 2. All right. Oh, why not? I already have the party there. Let's take one more crack at Cardassia 4.
Okay. So there
Then I have 6 personnel.
All right, and there's 3 underneath, so I get to draw and spend 3. 2, 3. All right, so that costs too much. That one is a space dilemma. So, yep, that's gotta be it.
All right. Randomly select a personnel.
So I will pull someone from crew 1 out onto the table. And because
Okay.
we have to check their attributes. He does not have an attribute less than 5, unless that personnel has an attribute less than 5. So Kortar does not have an attribute less than 5. He and a second randomly selected personnel are stopped, and this dilemma returns to its owner's dilemma pile. So I will put him in crew 3, and then I will use move random 1 to top of crew 3. And
All right.
that just, all right. Okay, so that keeps, that doesn't, all right, so I'm not going to use that random feature because it keeps moving things into my crew 3 and yours. So I think I'm going to not use that when I'm selecting for you and just pull things over like I've been doing. So.
All right.
All right. Oh, no, so wait. That goes bounce. So that returns to my dilemma pile. So I will drag this to bottom dilemmas.
All right. Once again, I am left 1 strength short of being able to accomplish this mission. So I will pass the turn on to you. One of these days.
Okay. Yeah, I won't be able to keep you out forever, but I can.
Oh, don't forget about hard time here at the start of your turn.
Yes, so he comes back.
And I will remove that dilemma.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I think what I want to do is I will play the constellation for 3. I will play, and then I will earth counter for that. Those 3. Four, 5 for Matt Decker. 6 for, no, excuse me. 3, earth counter for 4, 5, 6 for Matt Decker, 7 for Niles Barris. There we are. All right, so we're going to go ahead, because you don't have to stop very many people. You only have to stop 1 personnel to make sure that I don't have coming greater than 33. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to pick these folks up and take my new ride back to advanced battle simulation. So I'm going to attempt this with 8.
All right. So I get to draw 7 and play and spend 7.
Yes.